Hi, good morning. This is Susan, and I know I'm a little late, so I slept in this morning. Last night, I was talking with one of my friends, Laura, and she was saying about how she's an 8 to 10 hour kind of sleep person, and I was thinking, oh, 10 hours would be absolutely amazing. And so I fell asleep at 11 and I got up at 9, and I think that's 10 hours and I feel great, except then I woke up, I missed a doctor's appointment. My kid had to be somewhere and I missed that and no one woke me up. I had phone calls and I had stuff to do and none of it happened. And so I'm just hanging out and dealing with the fact that I missed a bunch of stuff, but I guess it will all get done later. So I titled this video, Count Your Blessings. So I grew up in an old, I don't want to say an old Assemblies of God church, because it wasn't really an old church. It was just a lot of older people in this church. And now understanding that I was 5, so they probably might have been my age. That's so sad. I'm going to be 47 and they were probably even younger than me because they were still having babies. But in my mind, I still think of them as old. So this older church, and there was this person who honestly, he really didn't sing very well, but he played the guitar and he was willing, so they let him sing. And he sang this song, Count Your Many Blessings. And so I'm not going to sing it for you today because I think that people who don't sing well should really minimize how often they sing on Facebook Live. And so I've already done it twice this year, so it's a wrap. Maybe I'll start off January with a song. But for now, I'm just going to tell you the words, and I think maybe some of you who grew up in the church might even know it. It's count your many blessings, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. Count your many blessings, and then he would be like, name them one by one. Count your many blessings, see what God has done. And we live in a culture and a season. I think it is so easy to forget how blessed our lives are. It's so easy to forget the miraculous things that God has done. This past year, I sang this song so much just in my own personal time, No Longer Slaves. And part of that song, hi Macaria, part of that song is you split the sea so I could walk right through it. And that song to me is so powerful because like there are things that God does in our lives where he parts the waters and miracles happen and blessings come. And it's so easy a year later or 5 years later or 10 years later to forget those blessings, to forget the miraculous things that God has done in our lives. And I think in a season of busyness where, especially as parents, we try to make everything so good for our kids. We try to make Christmas the best. I mean, Elf on the Shelf, really, that whole thing is just was created to add more stuff to Christmas. It's to add more things to Christmas and to add more magic for our children for Christmas. And there's so much pressure that I think it's so easy to forget the blessings and in our own lives, and to think of the lack of all the things and all the ways that I am failing and I'm falling short and I'm not doing this, and I can't compare and I can't compete, and the gifts and what do we get our children who have everything? And I don't say that they have everything, meaning they have every new gadget, but they have food, they have clothes, they have technology. There's not a lack in their lives at all. And Christmas comes and it's just flipping through the pages and going online. I mean, am I the only mom that actually had to Google search best gift ideas for 9-year-old child? Because really, at the end of the day, he wanted a Johnny Cash CD, and like there wasn't anything else. Like And so it's this season of trying to figure out like how we can make these holidays so special and so amazing that there's so much pressure that we forget the blessings. We forget the miraculous. We can forget all of the things that God has done in our lives and our families, and we can get discouraged. We can get disappointed. We can get frustrated and live under this fear of not having enough. I watched a message with Stephen Furtick, and he did this Waymaker series, and I'm telling you, like, it inspired me. It breathed life into me in this season when he was talking about that we live in a culture of never enough. Like, we live in a culture where whatever we make, it's not enough money. Whatever we have, it's not enough. Whatever house we're in, it's not big enough. Whatever car we drive, it's not new enough. We live in this culture where it's never enough, that we ask for something, we ask for God to do something, and then a year later, we're dissatisfied with it. So I have walked through this season really intentional of trying to speak positive words over situations and to remember the miraculous things that God has done in my life and the people around me. You know, and it's not a matter of counting our blessings in comparison to what other people are going through. You know, we have to get out of this mindset that how we feel about our lives is dependent on what other people are going through. Like I really shouldn't be happy because this person is going through this, or my life is so blessed because look at it could be this. I mean, we had a family yesterday lose their home in a fire, and so it's like in the conversations even on Facebook are, you know, like just in comparison, oh, it's Christmas. And really, it doesn't matter when a family loses their home in a fire. It's tragic no matter when they lose everything. But especially in the holidays, there's this thought of, well, it always could be worse because I could lose my house in a fire, or it could be worse because I could be having a surgery, or I could have a cancer diagnosis, or this could be going on. But it's not looking at the external. It's not looking what anybody else has, what anybody else is doing, what anyone else is buying, or like the amazing things that they're doing with their elf, and you forgot for the 6th time to move your stupid elf, and your kids are coming downstairs thinking that that their elf died. That's horrible that I'm even laughing about that. But our elf didn't die. He just sometimes oversleeps. Oh, I'm cracking me up. But I would encourage you is count your blessings. Count the things that God has done. You know, when we first moved, or when we first looking for a home, I can remember like praying specifically of what we needed and what we were looking for. And we've been in this home now for, I think, 9 years, almost 10 years. And, you know, over time, you know what happens? Like, you forget that this was the blessing. Like, this was the thing that God moved mountains for. I mean, we bought this house in 10 days. We moved here, and like, it was a whirlwind of things that God did in our lives, and it was amazing. But over time, you start thinking, oh, I wish it was like this, and I wish it had this, and you know, there almost is like this dissatisfaction that comes instead of remembering that for me and my family 10 years ago, God split the ocean and moved us miraculously to this place in the town, in the community that we're in, surrounded by the people that we're surrounded with the relationships. And it's so easy to lose sight of that. And recently we opened up our home for our youth group in our church to move here. And I can't tell you, I mean, it is work. Someone said, boy, that's a lot of work. And you want to know what? Anytime you open up your home, it is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. It's, you know, it's one day a week. My house is guaranteed to be clean. So if you're going to stop by without calling me, come on Thursday morning. And because it's going to be clean. But it is knowing that, like, seeing how perfect it is for the kids to be here, and how, like, I don't know, it makes me feel excited to share something that God blessed us with with these kids. And I think there were 20 kids here last night, and they were having fun. And there's this foosball game that someone gave us. I mean, it is a beautiful game and it's great. And Philip and I complain that they don't play it enough. Like, they don't play it enough. And last night, I mean, they played it for an hour. These youth are all sitting around and they're screaming and they're yelling, and good screams and good yells. But they're screaming and they're yelling and they're having a great time. And just even looking at that is such a blessing that it's not something we bought, someone gave it to us. And how much fun these teens are having when they're playing these games. And it was a great thing to see. And it made me realize just how blessed we are that we even have a home that we can share with our kids. And, my son, actually both my sons are loving this, that they love having people in our home, that they also love that we don't have to drive anywhere. I think Elliot came down yesterday in pajamas and said they were his Christmas jammies. And we told him that even though he didn't have to go outside, he still needed to get dressed. But it's knowing that, it's a season of thankfulness. And if you're dealing with depression, if you're dealing with anxiety, if you're dealing with fear through this season, begin to look at the blessings. And I'm not saying that that counting your blessings is a miracle pill to make all your woes and all your worries go away. But I will say that what it does is it moves us into a place of praise. It moves us into a place of thankfulness, and it positions and our hearts to receive the things that God has for us in this season. So I'm encouraging you, count your blessings, see the things that God has done in your life, realize that He is moving, and He has moved and will continue to move, even if you forget to move the elf. So I hope that you guys have a fabulous Christmas weekend. I hope that you enjoy your family, enjoy this season, and, just enjoy the ability to celebrate this day. Enjoy your children. So I will see you next week. Talk to you later.